welcome back to the program. Today, Iran retaliated to the U.S. strikes on their nuclear facility with a strike on U.S. bases. Most of or all of the missiles that they fired were actually intercepted, except one that landed outside of a base. And this is the type of de-escalatory strike that we saw after the strike on Qasem Soleimani back in the first Trump administration. And now it seems that perhaps there is talks of a ceasefire underway between Israel and Iran. Now that the nuclear program of Iran is essentially no more, Iran is perhaps going to be forced back to the negotiating table in a position where they're going to have to make some type of deal with the United States. Now, let's have a quick look here at a little bit of context behind what happened this weekend. And this all suggests some kind of level of coordination between the US and Iran. Of course, they're never going to tell you that. But if you look sort of at the information that is available, you will see that there has to be some kind of forewarning that was given here to Iran. So in the days before the strikes, Iran, as you can see here on this image from Maxar, started moving perhaps the uranium that was at the facility in Fordo outside. You can see this convoy of truck here, and it makes sense that the U.S. would have probably told them what was going to happen in time for them to move the radioactive material out of the facility. Because, of course, even if you're going to strike their facility, you don't want to cause a radiological event. And what the goal of the U.S. was to destroy the capacity of Iran to enrich uranium at a 90% level to create weapons-grade uranium. And we know that they didn't really have that in mass, but this facility would have made it possible. They've destroyed the facility. Most likely, the uranium that they have, the 60% enriched uranium that Iran possesses, it has been moved out of the facility. And now, essentially, they don't have the ability to enrich uranium at the capacity necessary to create nuclear weapons. And they don't have the facility to be able to do that anymore. And even if now Iran wanted to do it, it would take them years to be able to rebuild a facility, perhaps somewhere else, because the strikes have most likely damaged the structural integrity of this facility to a point where it wouldn't be feasible for them to continue to enrich uranium at this place. Let's see here, a quick look here at the missiles that were fired at the bases in Qatar. As you can see, they got intercepted. And now there is perhaps a chance for things to calm down in the Middle East. And let's listen to JD Vance, who was just on Fox News talking about it.
Finish line. I think what it means, Brett, is quite simple. First of all, the president, without, knock on wood, having a single American casualty, obliterated the Iranian nuclear program. We are now in a place where we weren't a week ago. A week ago, Iran was very close to having a nuclear weapon. Now, Iran is incapable of building a nuclear weapon with the equipment they have because we destroyed it. So that's a very, very big thing. Now, what that means, I think, is we have to talk to Iran and, of course, to Israel about what the future holds. Because while we have obliterated the Iranian nuclear program, our hope and our expectation is that they're not going to try to rebuild that program. And I think that's what the president is really trying to figure out here, is to build a long-term settlement here to where we can have peace in the region, where our regional allies and, of course, the American people, most importantly, can be secured, but where we can ensure that the destruction of the Iranian nuclear program that has already happened is not something they try to rebuild.
I want to get to the obliterated part in just a minute, but I just want to read this fully so I get the context here. Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours, at which point, the ceasefire for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful on the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will. I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel, God bless Iran, God bless Iran, God bless the Middle East, God bless the United States of America, and God bless the world. He seems confident that this is all coming together.
That's right.
And when you left the White House, were you thinking this was all gelling here?
When I left the White House, I thought that we might be able to get it across the finish line before this broadcast, and it looks like the president has been able to do that. I mean, look, he's been working the phones constantly. Frankly, before the 12-day war started, but certainly over the past 12 days, the president's been extremely clear about America's national objective here. It is to create a world where Iran cannot build a nuclear weapon. We, of course, destroyed the nuclear program that they had, and the president told the entire team, we're going to work to make sure that they don't try to rebuild that nuclear capability in the future. And it's, look, this is a great thing. For Israel, think about this. They've accomplished an important military objective. They've helped us destroy the Iranian nuclear program. They've also destroyed the conventional missile capability of Iran that threatened the country of Israel. For the Iranians, I think this is a new opportunity to actually pursue the path of peace. As I said yesterday, what the Iranians have showed through their support of terror networks, through their now failed effort to build a nuclear weapon, is that they're just not very good at war. And I think the president really hit the reset button and said, look, let's actually produce long-term peace for the region. That's always been his goal. I actually think when we look back, we will say the 12-day war was an important reset moment for the entire region.
And for the people, so we talked about the people who believe that this is going towards World War III, especially in your own party. There's a section that's very vocal. There's another section that says you should take out this regime because it's evil and horrible and has done horrible things for decades. How do you square those two sides? And can this regime stay in place and still have a peaceful, reaction relationship with the U.S.?
Well, I think the president has squared those two sides quite well. One, because he's the leader of the movement, and a lot of people trust the president, as they should. They recognize they're not seeing the same intelligence. They're not seeing the same classified documents. They trust the president to do a good job. But importantly, Brett, I think he's threaded the needle quite well here. We had a very particular objective. It was profound and difficult to accomplish.
Do you think
the elimination of the Iranian nuclear program.
Do you think they were close?
And I think the president successfully did that. You're asking, were the Iranians close to a nuclear weapon? Brett, they were very close to a nuclear weapon. And what I encourage my fellow Americans to think about here is that a week ago, the Iranians were quite close to achieving a nuclear weapon. Now they cannot build a nuclear weapon. That is the biggest testament to the president's leadership and to the success of our mission. In 1 week, without, thank God so far, not losing a single American casualty, we have taken what was a threatening nuclear program that could have destabilized the entire world. Now that program is gone. We did it through effective presidential leadership and also some very, very competent work from our troops.
All right, there you have it, JD's Vance assessment of the situation here over a topic that has really divided the Republican political base. And the justification here from the vice president totally makes sense. And the execution of this mission was absolutely flawless. It could have been very, very problematic for the Trump administration had this gone wrong. But now it's going to be very difficult even for the Democrats to pretend that this was not a success. Of course, we're seeing some of the Democratic leader explaining how Trump should have warned them before actually doing the strikes. Most likely, he did warn or try to warn the Democratic leadership, but of course, they're not going to admit it. But above all, it's going to be very difficult for them to pretend that this was a bad thing, where actually Trump delivered flawlessly everything that both parties actually have wanted for many years. Iran now is not in a position to be able to make nuclear weapons, and it will remain so for the next few years. And it's going to buy time, perhaps, to negotiate some kind of deal that would prevent Iran from being able to access nuclear weapons. We'll have to see what happens in the future. But as of right now, it looks that this will be it for this part of the conflict of the Middle East. And now perhaps there is a chance for peace. We will see what happens. But that is it for us today. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. And I will see you all on the next one. Peace.
Hit me with that like and sub to the channel. Hit me with that like and click the effing bell. Click that bit, alright. The algo recommends for she go like. The algo knows you well. Hit me with that like, subscribe to the channel. Hit me with that like and click the effing bell.